Just about ready. Well, look who it is perched on my sill. Hello, Ed. How's my favorite crow been doing? If you're here, that means that Cordelia can't be far off. Long time. I'd ask how you were doing, but I heard word travels fast in this town. I'm terribly sorry about your crew, Cordelia. Right to business, then. I don't know why I expected anything else. You want to know how to kill merfolk? You can't mean to tell me you think merfolk did this to your crew? You can mean to tell me that you think merfolk did this to your crew. Listen, I might not be the leading expert on sea creatures, but I can guarantee it wasn't merfolk. You'll be the judge of that. Listen, I know you've been through a lot. I know you're dealing with a lot right now, but child, do remember who you're talking to. Even Ed knows better than to talk to me like that. I know better than to offer you comfort. Chances are the most comforting thing to use to get you back out in those seas as quickly as possible. So, I've got a few books we can look into on sea creatures if you don't know what did. It was not merfolk. Well, if you're so convinced, then how about I read out of those books to you about what merfolk actually are? We'll see if you're so convinced then. Come on, over here. Now, as I mentioned, I am not as experienced with the sea and the creatures within as you are, but I can almost guarantee you that it was not merfolk that did this. From what I know about them, they are curious and inquisitive creatures. They aren't out for blood, as what you describe happened would indicate the creature was. I don't like going on the sea, so I know quite little about it, truly. But if it would help you, I'm more than happy to read from one of the mini books I have. I can explain the different kinds of merfolk a little better. Maybe we can find a different creature that truly did this. Okay. Since you refuse to believe me, I think this really is the only way. Okay. Now, which is the chapter on merfolk? I know quite little about creatures. Well, that's not true. I know quite little about sea creatures. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not all-powerful. My magic has its limits, and most mages prefer to use their affinity as it takes up less energy. While I have the ability to use raw magic, it costs me more. My affinity is plant life, potions and the like. I can do a lot of curse, blessing, and enchantment work too, but anything beyond that is costly for me. One of the last times I was truly out on the sea was when I met your ancestors. The only reason I was able to help them with that beast anyway was because there was a bed of sea kelp nearby that I was able to tie it up with. It took nearly everything else off me that I had. I prefer to stay on dry land since then. I'm not quite as familiar with this book as I am some of the others. I know enough about creatures in this area, but much beyond, and I'm out of my element. Truly, if you want to know something about creatures, magical or not, there's I believe she's a nymph who lives beyond the pass. She's, well, not exactly a wizard, but when I say she's a wizard with creatures, I just mean she's very good with them. If you need to know something about anything creature-related, you talk to her. She might not be a bad resource for you with this. I understand I'm closer, but contrary to popular belief, I do have my limitations. Ah, there we are. Okay. Cordelia, I will say it until I am blue in the face. I truly do not believe Merfolk was what attacked you. I will read these off to humor you, but there's nothing here that indicates that... Alright. Just because something is rare doesn't mean it's dangerous, though. Okay, first one we've got on the list here. Deep Sea Merfolk. Now, this one is the most solitary type, and the notes here say that what we know of them comes from a few recorded chance encounters and the 1 in a million chance of a body being washed ashore by the waves. It appears that deep sea merfolk have milky white eyes and skin so pale it's nearly translucent, allowing you to see some of the veins beneath. Did you get a good look at whatever attacked your crew? No, it was too late. Glowing wisps of tentacles stream in waves off of their heads as if our hair would. Based on their anatomy, it is suspected they communicate to each other in hues and pulsating patterns throughout the strands. It says that their mouths are full of razor-sharp interlocking fangs, rendering them less conducive to vocalizing as some of the others might be. The diet of this kind is unknown since we know so little, but I would wager it's not human flesh. Can you at least tell me where you were at in the sea when you were attacked, and I could maybe narrow it down? You just want me to go through all the types. Freshwater merfolk. It says that this kind is a shy, bordering on unfriendly, not murderous type. Freshwater merfolk have speckled skin in hues of browns and green, with long facial whiskers to help them sense their way in the murky waters. It says this type can be occasionally spotted sunning on floating logs, but primarily inclined to stay hidden in the muddy water, particularly in lakeweed beds, as they have strands similar to the aforementioned lakeweed streaming from their heads to assist with camouflage. So it sounds like most merfolk do have some kind of strand growth coming off of their heads, either for communication purposes or camouflage like these. This one says, from what we know, their diet seems to consist of freshwater algae, snails caught on the banks, water snakes, and most small slimy creatures you can think of in their habitat. Again, not humans. This is just going into further details on those two, but it doesn't sound like they would have attacked you, so let's see. Okay. Inland or grotto merfolk. the most curious and playful of the known types. It says that depending on how well they get along with the locals, they have been known to follow fishing boats and play games to see who can catch the bigger fish to snack on. It sounds like this one eats fish, not people. The most humanoid of merfolk says these are typically what you'd see depicted in illustrations, with long, colorful scaled tails, fingers that are slender, average in length, with minimal webbing between them. It says that inland merfolk seem to enjoy spending equal amounts of time in the water and out of the water, warming up on sun-baked rocks. It says, unfortunately, due to their more playful nature, this is also the type most preyed upon by poachers for their valuable scales, teeth, tears, etc. It really is due to poachers that I believe people have a misconception of what merfolk are. I forget what year it was, but there was a particular turn where it went from being known that merfolk were kind and peaceful to when people realized that they were valuable. And, well, it's easier to convince someone to buy the blood-soaked scales of merfolk if they are under the impression that it was harvested from the violent creature hell-bent on murder and blood. A few facts twisted, a few stories of other beasts mixed in, and it doesn't take much to convince the common individual who's never been at sea that merfolk are violent, evil, and should be hunted. Thus the smear campaign began. It's a shame, really. It's even more of a shame that you believe it. I know they're rare, but I would have thought you would have come across one by now. Alright, seawater merfolk. This one has the biggest personality range we are aware of, with the most varied diet. That does not mean they like human flesh. This type, unlike most others, does not have scales. Instead, it says they have a smooth, streamlined tail, with the body ranging in shades of grays and blues to blend in with the deep ocean. It says it is the largest and most powerful of merfolk types, the fastest, most cunning, and among the sea's top hunters. It says before hunting merfolk was common practice, it was not unheard of for this kind to rescue individuals from shipwrecks. Goes into detail on the recounting of a sailor that was rescued by one. It's an old recounting. There are some vague details about the existence of merfolk that live in boiling waters or the icy waters of the true North Sea, but I doubt you were anywhere near these during the time that you were attacked. Cordelia, merfolk are peaceful. They're intelligent and inquisitive. The only recorded attacks, even in this book, were the result of provocation, and even then, most of the time, they would flee to hide and heal. They don't stick around for blood and battle. I can keep looking through here, but I understand you're frustrated and upset this morning. But you cannot just go rushing into accusations. And you certainly cannot go rushing into just hunting creatures. You, of all people, should know that. I hate to ask, how is curing that curse coming along anyway? So you almost have enough then. That's very good. When it comes time, do you know how to get a hold of it? No, I certainly don't. I do not mess with that kind of thing. If it wasn't Merfolk, and you're certain it wasn't just... No, I suppose that's true. You do know your sea creatures better than anyone. So it's something rare. Something that most would not have dealt with. Is there anything you can give me about the attack that I could use to narrow this down? It was like they were possessed. By a voice? Possessed by a voice. No, that certainly rules out krakens or sea dragons or giant squids. Quite frankly, that rules out merfolk too. They don't have that kind of magic. Possession, even a small amount, requires enchanting ability. It does narrow the field down. Enchantment. Here we go. No, these are all land. Kelpies? Water spirits known to take the form of a dark horse or whatever gender the onlooker is most tempted by. You didn't see anything. It says they sing to lure their prey in before dragging them into the depths to... I won't read the next part out loud. It's a solitary hunter, it says. Targeting one at a time, but able to carry multiple. And that would fit most of your crew being taken. It wasn't one at a time. It possessed them all at once. That does rule out kelpies then. And if it took them one at a time, you would have had a chance to see or do something about it, but if your entire crew was possessed at the same time, that's... Well, first of all, that's a ridiculous amount of power, but not quite the kelpie style. I hate to ask, but you're sure the thing that cursed your family had nothing to do with this? It's true. Doesn't really fit. Alright. Enchantments, possessions. None of these are strong enough to do what you're describing. truly, once we get much farther here, it gets into myths and legends. This is on sea dragons. No. No. It's not like it'd be the first time you dealt with the myth. Sirens. But that's just... There have been crazier things that have happened in my time. It's pure myth and legend. There's little information to go off of here. It just says that there are winged and scaled varieties. In the myths and tales, it says the creatures do sing to lure individuals. That hypothetically, they have the power to lure many individuals at once. Am I going to have to drag out of you where on earth you were when this occurred? Because I know you're hiding it from me. Oh. That's why you're so dead set on revenge then, isn't it? You feel personally responsible because you know how forbidden those waters are. You don't need me to tell you that you're being reckless in an attempt to cure this curse, but you are being quite reckless, Cordelia. And there's little more to go off of here. It is a legend after all. That's the only one that fits. I don't know if our nymph friend would know much of legends, but she certainly might know of some rumors from those oceans. You would have to be willing to tell her where you were at, though. Cordelia, there is nothing further in this book that can help you. And if sirens are real, I doubt you'll find help in any other book. Did anyone survive? Yourself, your first mate, the cook. She knew. Young girl you took in. Wait, sorry, what did you just say? You took her in as the cook. she's deaf like the first mate. And she wasn't able to find work on land. How's that left ear of yours doing ever since the cannon misfire? So you can't hear out of your left ear at all? When this happened, when your crew began to act possessed, the first mate and the cook, were they affected at all? And you yourself? You felt the pull, but not the need to leap overboard. Fascinating. Cordelia, I would wager my best potions that the surviving members survived because they couldn't hear the call. Which really would lend itself to the potential of sirens. I really don't enjoy days where myths become reality. In any case, I have no idea how you would go about hunting a siren. But someone might. There is a library of sorts. Beyond the Sun Basin. On the other side of the continent. It would be a long journey, but there's an inhabitant there. Today is the day that myths become reality. She is not from this realm. You of all people could understand that. I do not know what she is, or where she came from. I only know that she is ancient and cunning and thrives on knowledge. At some point, she slithered down to the darkest depths of the library and has been there ever since. They give her the oldest of scrolls to watch over. Enchantments, incantations, things that are too powerful to be in anyone's hands from our realm. If anything would know whether or not sirens truly exist, she just might. What's the catch? You have always been quite the astute one, I'll give you that. Being in her presence is a little, shall I say, revealing. She'll get into your head. She means you no harm from what I could tell. She feeds off of knowledge. She'll find the inside of your head particularly fascinating given the circumstances. Your mind and thoughts will be laid bare before her. There is no outwitting her. There is no tricking her. You either go in with information she wants and would find intriguing and come out, hopefully, with what you came for. Some have gone mad in her presence. How do I know of her? Well, one of my old friends, Tavis, they were related. Tavis, we weren't all close with in our group. Those of us that could sense the magic, the otherness coming off of him. We knew well enough not to mention it. But he became one of our family members nonetheless. We know of her because we knew him. Even as strange and otherworldly he was infinitely better to deal with than her. He didn't even like dealing with her, if that tells you anything. You could get into her graces by taking her some of the potion I made in honor of him. You would also potentially be doing me a favor if you go visit her. No, I've only visited her once, never again. Promised myself. It's not exactly the most pleasant experience. There's a scroll that I need from her. I wager she knows that already. If you go chat with her, whatever that thing is, to learn more about your potential sirens, you could bring back the scroll for me. You are consistent, I'll give you that. I'll give you 2 potions to carry. Both the same kind, one for her, one for you to take before you see her. Tavis was our spy. Not because he was sneaky, but because he was eerily still. There was a calm about him, a peace to him, even though most of us knew that he didn't quite belong here. He was the calming presence you wanted at your side all the same. He was the hush of a mother soothing her child. The steady presence in the middle of battle. The unchanging mind in the war tent. The potion itself is calm. You could certainly use it before chatting with her. Help yourself to not over-reveal certain information and hopefully come out of there with your mind intact. And I think she'll find it intriguing that I was able to create anything in honor of her relative. Hopefully that would be enough to sweeten the deal so that we both get what we want from her. Or you could go in with nothing. But I highly recommend against that. I don't know if the sirens are real. And if they are, I have no idea how you'll defeat them. But it's worth going to her to see if there's a way. If it is based on hearing, like I suspect, I can at least make you an enchantment to take aboard the Dancing Druid. Hopefully it will be enough to protect any future crew members from the same fate. Alright then. You have a long journey ahead of you, my dear. Potentially one of your most dangerous yet. I'm sure you relish the challenge, though. Let me get that item to enchant for you. It's a little on the nose for you, to be sure. But I've been holding on to it for all this time, knowing it had a purpose. Someone it belonged to. Just wasn't sure who. I think it's been meant for you this whole time. I'll enchant this. You carry it on your person when you're on the Dancing Druid. Tie it to a mast, I don't care. But hopefully, it's enough to keep your crew protected. These are the potions. They have the most delicate shimmer to them. They smell like lavender and mint on a cool night's breeze. This will probably be one of the only times you ever hear me say this. When you go see her, take the whole thing. Don't hesitate. Down the whole bottle. You're going to need it. This one is for you. This one you give to her. Here. Now for the enchantment. Hopefully that's enough. I know better than to wish you safety. But I wish you well. Good luck, friend. Fair winds, and farewell, Cordelia. Swift sails to you.